Depression. Automatically, an awful lot of people, far younger than we are perhaps, think in terms of a major turn in the economy back in '29. But my guest doesn't think about that. Bruce St. James, who is the 9 to 12 guy on KTAR, really putting it on the line to talk about your personal life like this. Are you mentally ill?
I guess by the definition, I have certainly suffered from mental illness in my life, and specifically depression.
When did you know? When did you know you weren't just sad? How old were you?
You know, I've had, like everybody else, an interesting childhood. I had parents that separated.
When? How old were you?
13 years old, and lived with my father. My mother left and went with my little brother. So I had a very odd kind of a growing up. I was forced to be very responsible. My father was an alcoholic. I was forced to grow up maybe a little quicker than other kids. I learned how to drive when I was 14 because somebody had to do the grocery shopping around the house. Somebody had to run the errands. And
was he cruel to you?
Not at all. No, not at all. He was not the abusive drunk. He was the sleep it off for a day kind of drunk. So I had the adult role in the relationship with my father. I'm sure that has something to do with it and plays into it a little. But it really it manifested itself for me later in life. I was in my 30s when I had a series of events happen.
Give me one. I mean, we're limited for time, but just pick one.
My brother passed away. My half-brother passed away. It was pretty traumatic for the family. I saw my father in a way I'd never seen him before. My father passed away, and I had a relationship go wrong, a relationship breakup, and it was very ugly. And I think it was the combination of those things that really spiraled me down to a place where I didn't know myself. I didn't recognize myself anymore. And it's kind of, you can't see the forest for the trees. I did not understand what was going on in my life.
Friends of mine who have been diagnosed with clinical depression have usually compared it with some kind of pit, some kind of an abyss, a very, very dark hole. What about you?
I certainly think there's something to it. I used to use the term, I kind of saw everything in soft focus. I saw everything in shades of gray. There was no more color. That the world had a gloom to it. It was not uncommon to stay in the house for days at a time. Howard Hughes, not quite to that level of just wear your robe for 5 days and not shave or anything.
But you were in your 30s. What were you doing professionally?
Yeah, I was still working in radio. And I would turn around and say, thankfully, I had a boss who recognized this, and a boss who had dealt with some mental issues himself, and who said, I think you've kind of crossed over from, gee, you're a little upset or you're sad, to this is a real issue, and actually referred me to somebody and forced me, because I didn't want to go, to my first session where I sat down with a professional and started to work through exactly what was going on with me.
Before that, though, were you in denial? Were you having a difficult time admitting it? Or did you just simply not really believe that there was something that seriously wrong?
I think it's difficult for people to admit there's something wrong with themselves, to think there's something wrong with you. I thought that what I was going through was what everybody else went through, in the sense of I just wasn't handling it as well as other people. And I felt lesser. I felt like a lesser person. I felt weak and I felt stupid because I couldn't deal with this and I couldn't snap out of it, and I was embarrassed to admit that to other people.
I've heard you compare it with a wall.
Yeah.
That you couldn't get over.
It was a wall I couldn't get over, and really there was issues that I found through therapy, and I went through 6 years of therapy. There are just these things that I kept running into the wall over and over and over again, and felt like I could never get over it. I knew I could peek over the wall, and I saw like the grass was green and there were birds chirping, and it was a good place over there, and I just couldn't drag myself over it, and it just took time. It took time.
And therapy?
And therapy.
And medication?
I took medication for a while. I called them happy pills. And I did it for about a year. I took two different of the popular antidepressant drugs. I did not like them. There's no doubt that they had an effect, a positive effect. Like I said before, everything was gray. I'd take those pills, colors would start to pop. I didn't get the gloom wave wash over me. But I also felt numb at times. I felt numb emotionally to things that I should have reacted better to, positively or negatively. And I didn't like the idea that I needed a pill to make it through the day. That was something personal for me. And I said, I'm going to beat this without medication. That's what I wanted to do.
Are
and
you
that's not
better
everybody.
now?
I'm much better now, thank you. I am much better. And again, I think it's a combination of things, and time being part of it, understanding, self-awareness, and wanting to be better.
You're going to help a whole lot of people. In fact, a number of them that you have never met before.
Yeah.
Get better coming up. Special event.
Yeah, it's October 20th. It's the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and NAMI is the acronym. And it is a grassroots organization that advocates on behalf of the mentally ill and things like legislation and the community, and also provides a variety of services, including things like self-help groups and seminars for family of people that might have someone with an illness inside the household. How do you deal with them? How do you deal with a son? How do you deal with a father or a mother who's struggling with one of these things? And really try to bring it out of the shadows and come to the conclusion that, I think I've mentioned to you, if a little boy had a broken arm or was bleeding, we'd rush to their aid, and we know what to do, and we'd understand it. But if they're suffering from some sort of mental illness, unfortunately, turn the other way, let's not deal with this, let's push it under the rug, and it manifests itself in so many negative ways later on. If we
So
can
you're
deal
going
with
to
it now.
participate in a walk.
Yeah.
What day?
October 20th, it's Saturday morning right here in downtown Phoenix.
And how do folks get involved?
Well, there's a variety of ways, but I'd say the best way is to head over to the KTAR website, ktr.com.
Good.
And on my show page, there'll be information on the walk itself and how you can become involved, and more information about NAMI.
And it's on the Bruce St. James show that actually, as many times as I see him during the day, that I found out about his struggle and perhaps his eventual victory over depression. And that's one of the reasons why we invited him to Pat's Personal Portraits on KTAR.com.